This could be awesome. All right. First of all, for those of you I haven't met, which there are a lot of people on this call that I have not met, my name is Heather Hankemer, and I am the executive director of the CCC Leadership Program, and it's really fun. We started these monthly workshops about what, 3, 4 months ago, right? And really thankful to the Hudson Foundation for the funding and allowing us to do this content for free. I am a lifelong learner, so it's fun for me to read a book and share it with you, or read an article and share it with you, so that I'm not just driving Elizabeth crazy by talking to her all the time about what I'm reading. So this is great, and I really loved this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I think I've read it twice now, read it and then listened to it. And for my data loving, spreadsheet loving heart, I love the science behind what he has to say, and how he breaks it down and how simple it is. All right, so here's the rules of the workshop. If you have a question or want to interject, this is definitely interactive. I've got, obviously, as you see, there's some meaty content when you take a book that's, I don't know, 275 pages. I'm definitely not going to be able to hit every piece of the book in the next 45 to 50 minutes. So I have about 45 minutes worth of content, and then I would love to stop and hear what y'all are thinking. And also, please feel free to interject while I'm talking. I will not be offended, especially if you have something to add to the group learning. Atomic Habits. So I love that this is more of a systems approach. I can remember I grew up, I was born in 74, and I can remember my grandmother would always say, well, just buck it up and do it, right? Like, where's your willpower? Where's your stick to it? And I was like, like, that was wonderful. She was born in 1920 and had that kind of grit and determination that I wish I would have inherited, but I didn't seem to. So I love that this is more about changing our environment, or the systems, or the things that trigger good or bad habits, to become the person. So I love also, one of the huge themes of the book is that it's about who you wish to become, right? So it's not about you're right or you're wrong, or you're good or you're bad. It's for me, I went through this book with the mindset of, I wish to become a healthier person. So for me, that shows up in a couple of ways. One, to get moving, and then one, to make better meal choices. So I have, on page 2, I have about 4 or 5 bullet points here of things I want to make sure that I cover from the book. And the first is his concept of the 1%. So habits are a compound interest of self-improvement. Getting 1% better every day counts for a lot in the long run. So it's that, I just had a coaching call this morning for myself. My coach was coaching me, and we had gone over 15 things I should have done in the last 2 weeks. And I told her, boy, that was super overwhelming. And so I just didn't do any of them. And so I love the concept of, if we just do 1% more, we are compounding that progress. Small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. The most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed, and you need to be patient. Boy, I think that line was written for me. You need to be patient. Changes don't. When I walk one night, the next morning I shouldn't wake up and expect to see pounds off the scale, but that's exactly what I expect. So patient is a really good way to look at it. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals, focus on your system instead. So he talks a lot about environment. So not only if we have accountability partners, right, but also the environment. Like, if we want to eat healthier, then clean out the fridge and don't have things around in your environment that aren't healthy to eat. Likewise, for me, it's important that My shoes are and socks are always there at the treadmill, so that at night when I'm done working, that I will do that 30-minute walk, right? So creating things in your environment that really really help you to achieve that small goal. And the people too, right? So if we have a goal of not smoking, being around people that are smoking doesn't really get us to that goal. So I love thinking about that. So the most effective way to change your habit is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but who you wish to become. I love that. Like, I want to become a healthier person. I want to become a better leader. I want to really envisioning and putting out there into the world uh, what changing habits or what creating new habits will actually do for us. So here's where we get into the process part of his book. So he has a feedback loop that it contains 4 steps. So cue, craving, response, and reward, and we're gonna deep dive into those. And then the 4 laws of behavior changes that we use to build better habits are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. And those all sound really easy, but we're also going to deep dive into those too, because easier said than done. I've included on the bottom of page 2 links to a couple of his resources. He does emails a newsletter out that I really love, and it just kind of reminds me of what I need to be paying attention to. And then his bonus guide to business and parenting is really interesting, because he takes the principles and applies them to if you are trying to achieve better business habits or better parenting habits, how you might be able to apply his learnings to that. So with any new thing that I learn, I always like to take a step back, and he has this template that's called the habit scorecard. And it was interesting to me to do this exercise, because it was really assigning what is a habit. So are we all pretty clear on what a habit is and what the habits are in our daily life? Like, get up in the morning and brush my teeth, or I get up in the morning and I have a cup of coffee. Or bad habits: I finish work at 6:30 and I go downstairs and sit on the couch for however long, right? So what are the habits that are currently kind of showing up in our life? And then assigning to those habits: are they good, or are they bad, or are they just kind of neutral? Like, some habits, like making your bed in the morning, it could be neutral, it could be good, right? So he has a little bit here. This is from chapter 4, about how you identify those habits, and then identifying those negative habits that aren't going to get you to the goal of who you want to be. So there's a template, and I'm gonna take a moment here, and it's, sorry, I don't have page numbers. It would be page 4. So on the back side of template, the habit scorecard, there is a place to say, here are some daily habits, and are they positive, negative, or neutral? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to either think about a couple of habits. Don't think all negative ones. But what are some habits that you're doing right now and a habit is something literally that you don't think about, right? Like, I take, my vitamins when I get up in the morning, or I go buy Starbucks on my way to the grocery store every Sunday. So something that you do that you don't even really think about. So it's interesting when he uses a lot of statistics, which again makes my um, data driven heart super happy. And he's one of them is researchers estimate that 40 to 50% of our actions on any given day are done out of habit. That's a lot, right? I mean, and you think about it, think about how many things we just automatically do, whether they're good or they're bad. Whether it's, um, you know, something that you like. I'm weird. I eat the same thing every morning. And so, and it's just like, it's just super routine to me. I don't even really think about it. I really think about it when I eat something different every morning, or when I'm, asked for a breakfast meeting. I'm like, oh no, am I going to eat my normal thing and then not like, yeah. So there's that. Um, so okay, so now you've got a couple of habits in your mind, good, negative, and also thinking about maybe how those habits shape who you have become, right? So I love the 1% better every day graphic that he has. So really having a representation of when you improve 1% better each day, how you hit a place where it just goes whoop, right? So I love that. So the effects of small habits compound over time. For example, if you can get just 1% better each day, you'll end up with results that are nearly 37 times better after 1 year. That's motivating, right? I like that. I can do something 1%, right? That almost sounds too easy. All right, so let's jump into the 4 laws. So I am on the page of how to create a good habit. And so the first law he has is make it obvious. So this goes to environment, making our habits obvious. So we just did that as step 1, right? So making our habits obvious. We could be doing things while the first time I read this book, I started writing down things and trying to be more aware. In the book, he has an example of get a 3x5 note card and put it in your pocket. And every time you do, to remind yourself that every time you do something that you're doing automatically, to write it down, to start being more aware and identify these habits, right? So step 1 is being real about these habits that we've gotten into that might be not serving us, but we're not even really aware of them. And so he talks a lot about using certain phrases and when implementing new habits. So you implement intentions. I will walk 30 minutes at 6 p.m. in my living room, in the treadmill that sits in my living room, right? So making it that specific of so one of the things I'm working on with my coach is I'm trying to be more social media savvy and get more comfortable posting on social media. So this morning I told her I will post on LinkedIn every Friday around 10 a.m. Right? So I'm saying my intention and I'm making it specific and time bound so that A, I can put it on my calendar because I live and die by my calendar, and B, it's something that I will be doing, and then at some point it will just be something that I automatically do, right? When I sit down on Friday morning at my computer that LinkedIn might be the first place that I go. So he talks about habit stacking. This one was a little harder for me to wrap my mind around, and I haven't gotten there yet. But so it goes a little something like this. So after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will put on my shoes and walk around the block. So taking one habit that you already do and adding a habit to it. So again, I'm still wrapping my mind around this one, and I haven't figured out how to actually implement it yet. Because what I want to do is go when I walk at night, after I walk at night for 30 minutes, I can have a cocktail. Well, that's dumb, right? But that's what I want to do. That's where my mind goes. So I'm working on this.
It sounds like you earned it.
Yeah.
That's how
Right.
I justify to myself is, well, I worked really hard today, so on the way home, I deserve to stop and, get whatever.
100.
Crumble cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm trying to remember that habit stacking is actually start with one good habit and go to the next one. And then design your environment. So make those cues of good habits obvious and visible, right? So we talked about that. If you want to eat more fruit, put a big bowl of fruit right there on your counter. If you want to walk more, get those shoes out, put your workout gear, whatever it is, right? All right, so the second law is make it attractive. Use temptation bundling. So pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. So if I had a dog and I want to start walking around the block once a day, I would say, okay, I need to walk the dog. So I am also going to, I'm not getting a dog, by the way, for my friends on this that are like, oh, where's she going with this? She doesn't need a dog. But you see how this one could, like, I need to go to the grocery store. So I'm going to park far away so I get more steps in if I'm trying to get to 10,000 steps. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Okay, so my introverted heart hates this one because I don't want to join another culture. But I can also see how some people are motivated, like if it's the joining the gym or joining a book club to read more books. Like I can see that. I can square myself with that one. Create a motivational ritual. Do something you enjoy immediately after a difficult habit. So for me, it could be I get to watch an episode of my favorite show after I walk for 30 minutes, or I can't think of anything after eating, but making a healthy choice, then I get if I make enough healthy choices, then I get a massage, at the end of the week. So something that is a reward that doesn't misalign with the habit, right? So you don't want to misalign with the person you want to be, but trying to find something that's motivational that fits. So our third law is make it easy. So we all know we're badass women and we can do hard things, but when it comes to habits, let's just make it easy, right? Let's start easy. So reduce the friction and decrease the number of steps between you and the good habit, right? So don't join a gym that's 30 minutes from your house. Don't set the intention that you're going to cook every night if you don't cook to begin with. So really figure out how you make that easier. Prime the environment. So prepare your environment to make future actions easier. So if I'm going to eat healthier, I have healthier snacks. Maybe I cook on Sunday to make sure that I've got a good healthy dish. Master the decisive moments. Optimize the small choices that deliver outsized impact, right? So small choices. So I always tell myself, even if I just walk 10 minutes, that's better than not walking at all, right? Use the 2-minute rule. Downscale your habit and they can be done in 2 minutes or less, right? So make it a little easier. Buy the vegetables that are already chopped and the fruit that's already washed. Automate your habits. Invest in technology and one-time purchases that lock in future behavior. I kind of love this one because this really speaks to the gamification for those of us that are competitive or like to track things. There's so many apps, right? Whether it's wanting to meditate, you can get that phone will bing and remind me to do the 1 minute whatever. So really finding something that you'll use and stick to and enjoy tracking that and kind of um, um, gamifying that. I mean,
Oh, I was gonna say, Amanda just
yeah.
jumped in, the Me Plus app on the phone. Ooh, that's cool. So now I want to learn about that. I was just gonna say, one of the things that really helped me get tons of walking in,
Mhm.
one year, not lately, and now I want to do it again, but it's the virtual races. And so
Oh,
you pay for it. I mean, it's the same you would pay for like a 5K or a 10K. You pay for it, and then you log your miles depending on what, technology you have. And then at the end, you get a medal. And that's the best part. So yeah, exactly that. It's like and you get to do it over whatever time period, right? It doesn't have to be in a certain amount of time.
sure.
Or some of them do, but and in the end, you get a medal.
Yeah.
So, but now I got to look up this Me Plus app.
E plus,
So what does
you
it
get
track, Amanda?
you get for free if you want to try it out, and then there's a annual subscription. It tracks anything you want to track. So they have some preset categories with suggestions you may like, but you can also add your own specialty ones and write your own in. And you can divide it by time of day or if it's any time during the day. And when you click on them, little confetti goes off and makes me really happy. And then it tracks it over time so you know how close you were to meeting all your goals that day. So like you're like at 95% for the week or something. And it seems super childish. Oh, it seems super childish because there's like little icons and they're color coded and I love it. It seems stupid, but it's helping me immensely.
I,
And I'm all in.
I think it's all about what works, right?
It's on the first page of my phone, and every single night I'm like, oh, I didn't meditate today. I
Yeah.
paused for 5 minutes, knew my body scan.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I love on the Apple Watch, if you do a walk outside, it will give you the map of what your walk looked like. And I love playing around with that. I mean, it's just something fun that after it's over, I've got this, graphic of where I
Are
went.
you making art? Are you like
I,
making?
I am. I'm trying. Yeah. I am trying. So yeah, so use technology as your friend when it comes to habits. All right, so the fourth law, make it satisfying. So use reinforcements. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. It could be just self-talk, right? Like at a girl or you were awesome or whatever it is. Make doing nothing enjoyable when avoiding a bad habit. Design a way to see the benefit. So if you if you're trying to break the habit of mindlessly watching TV, right? So what could make not doing that enjoyable, right? So is it a bubble bath? Is it a book? So really thinking about how when we're not doing something, we could make that enjoyable. Use a habit tracker. Okay, so this one, I think you can go a little overboard. So I'm gonna and I think he goes a little overboard on some of his habit tracking. So my recommendation is don't track too many habits at once. And track them how it works for you. Technology, pen and paper, what makes you really happy once you see a week of tracking, what makes the most sense, and use it as a motivation to say, I've done it 3 days, come on, it's the fourth day, I don't want to break this chain, right? Never miss twice. When you forget to do a habit, make sure you get back on track immediately. I'm the worst of, it's Monday, I didn't walk. It's Tuesday, I didn't walk. Oh, I'll just start again next Monday. Right? So when you don't do something, get back on it immediately. And again, I love the rule of like, I'm just going to do it for 10 minutes. Even though my goal was 30, if I get on there and I do 10 minutes, you bet I'm going to 30. Like, but it's the it's that kind of self-talk of of just doing it. I'm a big fan, or an early fan, of Mel Robbins, if any of you know her work, and she does the 3-2-1 go. And I use that a lot. I use it to get out of bed in the morning sometimes, like, because I kind of love my bed, maybe a little too much, and so I do okay, I've laid here long enough and I'm going to get out of bed, 3-2-1, and then you just do it, right? So whether it's a new habit or whatever, you just go for it and don't think about it. I can't even count how many times I have convinced myself that the third snooze is the one, right? So just do it, right? Just like Nike said. All right, so let's end with, how do we break a bad habit? So basically, he takes all the laws that he talked about and then inverts them, right? So the first law is to reduce our exposure. So remove the cues of your bad habits from your environment. I'm going to try, if I'm trying to stop smoking, then it can be, throwing the cigarettes away or the Twinkies away or whatever it is. So make sure you've cleaned your environment of whatever habit you are trying to break. So the second law is make it unattractive. So reframe your mindset, highlight the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. So for me, when I think about being healthier, I think about, I want to be healthier so that, not because I want to look better, but because I want to live a longer life. I had a grandmother who didn't take very good care of herself, and we physically watched her deteriorate. And so I use that as a motivation of good habits now, and something. So it's not about, when I think about being healthy, instead of beating myself up for making bad choices, I'm actually my self-talk now is about making choices for the future. So make it difficult. So increase the friction, increase the number of steps between you and your bad habits. So he, in the book, he talks about, he was trying to break the habit of watching TV during a certain, I don't remember what it was, but during a certain time of day. And so he would take the batteries out of the remote and unplug the TV. So it would, when he thought to go watch TV, there was more steps to plugging the TV back in, putting the batteries in the remote. And he, it would train him to say, well, it's just not worth the effort, right? So make it more difficult to do those bad habits. Use a commitment device. So again, use our technology, a partner. How many of you have had, walking partners or accountability partners that we, rely on people to say, help me, call me out when I do X, Y, or Z, or hold me accountable for this or that, or I'm going to take a picture. I have a friend that, she's takes a picture of her food and sends it to someone else that she eats, to be accountable for making healthy choices for eating. So I love that. So the fourth law, make it unsatisfying. Get an accountability partner, ask someone to watch your behavior, and create a habit contract. So this was an interesting one. He, his example was around wanting to, I think it was running a marathon, and he had done it, but then he'd gotten out of the habit of doing those things. And so he made a contract with himself, his wife, and his trainer, a literal, we wrote it on paper and everybody signed it. I think that's probably taking it pretty far. I think you can make a contract with yourself on, this is what, and make it specific. I think that when we talk about moving forward and making progress, if we don't put time, in 30 days, I'm going to be here, or in 60 days, I want to do this. I think that, that can be, I just want to be healthier doesn't really give me any kind of accountability to when do I want to be that, and what does success look like too. I think sometimes we make goals and New Year's resolutions and all the things, and when we become unsuccessful on day 3, it's just like, oh well. So make it something that that's a contract with yourself, something that you want to accomplish. So I included some of the more interesting graphics that he included in his material. And again, you can find all this material. It's all free on his website to download. You can download a habit tracker. You can download more things than you probably would want to download. But I love the walking 10 minutes per day. So this person is saying, I'm going to walk 10 minutes after breakfast each day. And so it's interesting how at the bottom of the graph, it kind of starts out small, right? There's only a little bit of walking, and then it gets bigger, and then it gets more frequent, and it gets bigger. And at some point it just becomes like he's walking 3 or 4 times 10 minutes a day, right? So I just find it interesting to see that kind of graphic representation. And then the last one on the last page is mastering one habit. So seeing that at some point through the mastery, it actually becomes a habit, right? It becomes something we don't even think about. I mean, I have an older brother, and he leaves work at the same time every day and goes to the gym at the same time every day. I don't even think he thinks about it anymore. And I think, oh my gosh, he has so much will. Like, I'm always in awe of it. But for him, it's like, that's just what I do, And so that's what I'm working to get into that mindset of, that's just what I do. And then the last graph is, how do we master a feel? So we get into the stepping through of progressive layer improvements on top of one another. So talk to me about what came up for you. What would you like to share? Anything, any ahas or tips even? Gosh, if you've had some success with mastering new habits, or anything you want to share with the group.
Like for me, when you were asking for automatic things that we do every day, I honestly couldn't think of any. Like, I think of what I'm doing as my routine, not as habits.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I do find myself doing every day is 2 or 3 of these. And I'm kind of torn because, it's just water, right? But it has sodium.
Mm.
And so I find that I'm drinking 2 or 3 of these every day and constantly reaching for them. Like, it's addictive. That it's not, there's no caffeine, but that carbonation of that burn. Oh my gosh. There's something special about it. But then I'm thirsty. Like, the sodium, I guess, makes me thirsty. So I go to bed thirsty. And so I try to fill this up with water. And I mean, there's like 4 drops of water in this because I don't go fill it up. So I have a right, here at my desk, and I'm trying to replace this with water. So for me, it's not really about, so I want to form new habits, but I can't, it's hard. I think I'm addicted to these. And then the other one is, I'm trying to take my vitamins. So I have them everywhere. So like readers, people have multiple sets of readers all over their house. I have stocked up on these. I had to actually go in and cancel my automatic delivery of them because I have so many that I haven't been taking them. So I have them here at my desk. I have them in my bathroom. I have them in the kitchen. There's no reason. They're literally at my fingertips, and I'm still not doing it. And it's uncomfortable to swallow them. So I even watched YouTube videos on you're supposed to do it with your head down. Did y'all know that?
What?
You're supposed to You're supposed to put them in your mouth and then put your head down and, take your drink, hold the water, put your head down and it does. It makes them go down. I guess it opens up the back of your throat more. And I'm still not doing it.
Because they're bigger. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
like,
yeah.
wait, I have never heard. I take plenty of.
Yeah, they're just like average, really, but
Lynn, I'm
you
gonna
can
start
take
texting
multiple.
every day. I'm gonna start texting Lynn every day. Taking vitamins? Are you taking vitamins?
Well, okay, so if we
I should do it
apply,
right now.
so
Should
if
do
we
it right
applied
now.
the principles we just heard from James Clear, none of what everything you want to do, you need
have
to make attractive. Yes, you have his book.
I have the book and the audiobook.
Yeah. So maybe the drinking regular water isn't attractive enough for you.
No. And I've
So-
tried like getting flavors to put in it, but
Uh-huh.
I want the bubbles.
Well, but there's nothing. So I think, I mean, there's bubble water that doesn't have sodium in it. So maybe it's simply changing the carbonated water that you drink.
Lynn, this
Yeah.
one doesn't have sodium.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give up Topo Chico and get seltzer waters.
How
Sorry.
how much sodium is in yours?
0.
Oh, no
Mhm.
sodium?
Yeah, like even a soda stream, it uses CO2, not sodium, like bicarbonate sodium. It uses CO2 to create the bubbles, not sodium.
I
Even
love my
water-
soda stream.
Yeah,
even
this-
water doesn't have any sodium.
Ooh.
You can that one pretty easy.
I'll come down and grab one. Amanda's just
I'll
like
give you a
2 steps
Waterloo
away
if
from
you
me.
like it. Okay, come down after this. I'll give you one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love this. Thank you, Lynn, because really what we're talking about here is she's got 2 things she wants to change. And it's like, how do you make it more attractive? How do you make it something that you'll do? Because it feeds into, I'm guessing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that you're trying to be healthier. You want to
Yeah,
be, you want to be someone that's making healthier choices.
Yeah, these are supposed to help my hair, and I have really thin, fine hair, and my mom wears her hair is so thin she wears a wig. So I know in the future I'm going to have to, I have just naturally thin, fine hair, and this, if I would just do this now, it might help me, in 20 years.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Lisa?
Well, I was just thinking about your example with the vitamins. My understanding of James's suggestion is like, you're going to take your vitamins every day after you brush your teeth.
Mm.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know that having them everywhere, right, is helping you. Like you said, it's like everywhere you look, they're right there, but you're still not taking them. So it's like setting up when you take them, or if you have to eat first, like
Mhm.
after I eat my breakfast, I take my vitamins.
So making it part of my routine. That's what I was saying earlier is I don't really think about having these habits, but more of a routine. And
Yeah.
these are not part of my routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
can do stacking. Do you do something right before bed, like brush your teeth? Just make it part of your brush your teeth habit.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
My vitamins, I brush my teeth and immediately take my vitamins.
Yeah, I liked his whole idea, and again, this is me and my like spreadsheet loving brain. I love the whole idea of it's a system. What is everything that I do in a day or a week or whatever, it's a system, and if I'm doing things that aren't benefiting me being a healthy person, I need to look at my system, right? Am I not buying enough protein when I go to the grocery store? Or am I even going to the grocery store? Some weeks I don't even go to the grocery store. And that's a horrible habit because then I'm taking out and eating, making horrible choices. So what in the system can I change? Maybe it's I need to start like Sunday morning. I wake up at 9, I put my tennis shoes on and I go to the grocery store, right? So I like thinking of all of these choices and habits and who we want to be as a full system and what can I implement to get to that goal. What else is coming up for you guys? Any?
I would say for me, the habit tracking is appealing to me because I struggle with a couple of my habits. I can do fine for 5-6 months and then I can get off 1 or 2 days and then it's like, okay, I'm starting all over. and it's major. And so I don't know, I'm a creature of habit. And so I document and make notes of everything else, creative ideas and things to do here at school. But then I never thought about tracking the things that I would like to do for to take care of myself, so that I'm a better me.
Yeah.
So that was an aha for me, just the habit tracking. Fine. Now I'm going to have to figure out what that's going to look like.
Yeah. I love that.
I live and die by my calendar. Like, if it's on the calendar, that's the only way it's gonna get done for the most part, especially during the day. So I've got a couple of things that I calendar on repeat every single day, and that helps me just to trigger my brain every day to do something.
What's one
So when
example?
I read a book a while back by a guy named Sean Aker. I don't know if y'all heard about him. He did a book called Happiness Advantage, and he talks about if you start every day by reaching out to somebody and telling them some kind of thank you for something. So it could be your second grade teacher, it could be a colleague or your sibling or whatever. And particularly the first like 60 days, doing somebody different every day, but start your day with what I call praise providing, but some sort of gratitude to somebody else. It is scientifically proven to make you happier. It increases your feel good endorphins because without fail, it comes back to you. And it creates a network of social feel good stuff. And or articulately than that. But anyway, it's good. So I've been doing it for over a year, but it's on my calendar at 8 a.m. every single day. So from 8 to 8:10 every day, it just reminds me, send the email for my Keller peeps, send a heart at work, whatever it is, but find somebody to thank them for something.
Wow.
So when it's on my calendar though, I'm like, it's just a little signal to me, like, don't forget. Now it's a habit, but I keep it there, just don't forget.
Right. And the book is called The Happiness Project.
It's called The Happiness Advantage.
The Happiness Advantage. Sorry. Okay.
It's
Sean.
pretty good and pretty fast. You'll get
Yeah.
done in probably a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. What else?
And the Me Plus, I'm just telling you.
Me plus. We're all gonna
Also
look.
cheap,
We'll
but
all
I
be
like it
looking
when
at
it
them.
gives me confetti.
Yeah. Yeah.
A sucker for confetti.
Yeah.
I think that one thing came to my mind, and I've read this book and listened to it on audio, and it's one that I think you can kind of circle back to over and over. It's, probably, and probably strikes you in different ways at different times. But I love this idea of like, I want to be the kind of person who, and I think I was just curious what you all felt. I think as women, it's sort of easy to latch on to those eating healthy, like that's where our mind goes, right? And there's a place for that, and that's all, that's great. But I think there are so many, it's bigger than that, it's broader than that, and kind of challenging ourselves to think about, I want to be the kind of team member that notices my other team members, or I want to be the kind of employee that gets work done but has good boundaries, or and just I feel like there's like a lot more out there. It's easier for us to attach to these kind of health related, body image related pieces. So that was one thing that kind of came to my mind.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for sharing that, because I mean, when we think about especially who we want to be as women, as leaders in our community, like it's helpful to say, this is who I want to be, and then work backwards from there. Right. So it's not about, it's not about the how we get there, it's who we want to be in the end, right? Because I think that's the trap of New Year's resolutions, right? Is it's the trap of like, I want to be this person, the perfect person, or the perfect this, or do the perfect that, and then when we approach it from, this is who I really want to be, then it lines up with our values, and it's easier to do.
Yeah. Or you could pick arbitrary things that feel like the things you're supposed to be working towards without thinking about who is it that I really want to be? How do I want to exist,
Mhm.
in my life?
Yum. Yum.
I
Yeah.
also use the reminders on my phone because they send up an alert. So if you have something daily, like I've got one that goes off at 8 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
All right, that just helps me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, we have these devices. We might as well use them.
Amen.
I mean, they're with us.
Don't tell me about a missing kid. It might as well tell me to
Yeah.
email my.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're right there. And the trick is though, and Elizabeth can attest to that since she works so closely with me. So I struggle with, I like pen and paper. Like it's just who I am. And we've tried to go to a digital system and I struggle. And so like, yes, I want to learn how to be more digital, but I also have to realize at some point it's just not it's not attractive to me, right? It doesn't help my visual loving heart. I mean, you can see I drive her crazy. I've got like my whole calendar and posted notes and everything on the wall here. And she's trying to get me, on Monday.com. So, we've got baby steps, right? But also doing what really works for us. So anything you want to add, Elizabeth?
I turned off my camera because I think I'm getting a little bit of, like, Heather and I are both in the same location, so I think we're getting a little bit of lag here. I love the visual too. So I think it's a blend, right? Like, I love the visual calendar that we have on the wall. I get to walk by it every day. And then I also like the reminders on my calendar and on my phone. So I think like both are attractive in different ways. So one is not better than the other, and we don't have to do one or none, like we can do both.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really great point. It, is that you have to find that blend of what works for you. I mean, like I wouldn't be able to keep a paper calendar. That's silly. I'd be constantly looking at it to see when my next meeting is. So, yeah, but knowing yourself too, like I like the visual of looking at a calendar on a piece of paper in a month and saying, oh, I did this many steps. Like this weekend wasn't so great, but this week I really rocked it, so, I agree. Yeah, not balance, but harmony. We thank you for that. Cause I talk a lot. I'm a big, we'll never really find, work-life balance is a great idea, but it's really more about harmony. It's about like in this phase of life, it can be, and especially when you work events and do big projects like we do, there's times that we're really busy and times that we're not so busy, and really figuring out how you make that harmonious. One thing has to give for something else to take a bigger chunk of time. So I love that. I love that. Will anyone have some closing thoughts? I always like to give everybody a couple of minutes for to give back to you if I can. And I'm so glad you all joined us. We'll have this recording up and send it out so that if you want to watch it again or sharing it would be awesome. I love that. We're really trying to create a community of women that have these conversations. Oh, and if you have something you would love for us to discuss or get tips on, please let us know. We're going to start. Obviously, we're going to do these every month, and would love your input, because this is a conversation and not a this is what do we need. So and how do we support each other? Awesome. So Elizabeth will send out the video, and feel free to reach out to either her or myself if you have ideas or have, oh, please tackle, blah, blah, blah. we would love. And if you have something you would love to present to the group, let us know too. We'd love to bring some more voices into the conversation as well. So with that, I say I'm going to stop the recording.